Hello and welcome to Anxious at Bedtime. I'm one host, Cash,
I'm the other host, Monica.
and this is a new introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for joining us. We are the podcast that usually tells you spooky, scary stories.
We tell you stuff.
And
She tells you stuff. I commentate sometimes.
yeah, we just hit a milestone in our downloads.
Oh,
So
shit. We're over 10?
we're over 10.
Hell yeah.
So thank you so much. That's really cool to
Yeah,
see.
thanks, guys.
Sometimes I forget that people actually listen and it freaks me out a little bit when I check those numbers, but I appreciate it.
Many thanks, everybody.
Do you have anything to talk about?
I certainly don't. Sometimes I have so much throughout the week that I can talk about for this podcast, and then I forget it.
The dire wolf.
Oh, they did just make a new dire wolf. Yeah, after like 10, 12,000 years, at least 10 years. It's been at least 10 years extinct. They made a new dire wolf by some DNA and some actual wolves. They just, made that shit happen. That's pretty cool and wild. What else is going on?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't either. Does anybody?
One thing that I wanted to talk about that was so crazy. I was listening to an episode of Two Girls, One Ghost, one of my favorite podcasts. They were reading listener stories, and there was a story about this person that went to a Ripley's Believe It or Not, and they got to the end of it, or they got to the section of it where there was a spinning tunnel, and the listener and their mom felt that something was wrong, and then they got like a demon attached to them from there. It's weird because I think I've told you this story before. It's not the same Ripley's Believe It or Not. That story happened in Florida. But I went to one in Newport with my grandparents
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
like 20 years ago. Wow. Yeah, like 20 years ago.
I wasn't there. I just remember her telling me.
Yeah.
Let's be specific.
And it's so weird because we went to this Ripley's Believe It or Not. We went through the whole museum, and then what we assumed was the end because we didn't finish it. There was a spinning tunnel, and my grandparents, for some reason, got so sick and kind of scared. I don't know. I'd never seen them like that, and they did not want to go through the tunnel. So we turned around and walked through the whole museum again to go back out the front door. And they said, hey, we don't want to do that. We're not going through it. And for so long, I thought that was so weird. But hearing that story gave me, full body goosebumps.
I know, and you bring it up again, and now we're a lot more comfortable in our relationship, being married and all. So I can ask, did they get a refund? Because they went backwards. They're like, we couldn't finish it. Did they get money back?
I don't think so. I don't remember, though.
That'd be cool if that was a loophole.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, that would,
I'd use that in every museum that I had to pay for.
That would be why people wouldn't
I'd turn
give
around
it.
and be like, no, I got scared at the end.
You're silly. You
That's
wouldn't
rude.
do that.
I would not do that. Absolutely not. That's terrible.
But yeah, I don't know. That was a core memory for me, and it always stuck with me because the way they reacted was kind of the way we've talked about the story before on here. I think that you reacted at the Coca-Cola factory in Las Vegas, where
I knew that's where you were going.
Yeah.
I knew that's right where the fuck you were taking that to. As soon as you looked at me, I knew
know
that.
you did.
Oh my!
I could see it register in your eyes. But yeah, that
fear.
the fear and the
In my eyes, that's rude.
the anxiety of just I don't know how to proceed from here, but I'm not doing this. That's what it reminds me of. And yeah, they started reading that story. And at first, I didn't catch where they said it was a Ripley's Believe It or Not museum. I just heard that there was the spinning tunnel, and I oh, that's really weird. And then they said Ripley's Believe It or Not, and I dropped. I don't remember what I was washing. I was washing dishes, and I dropped whatever was in my hand. Yeah.
Boy, if you broke another one of those Chiefs cups, I swear I'm going to be so sad.
I didn't. Nothing broke.
Okay.
I think it was silverware at that point.
Ooh, boy, if you scratched my silverware.
Okay. But
I don't care if you did.
But how weird is that?
That is very peculiar.
Not just another Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, but the same part in another one.
That is wild. Do you think that's where Zach Bagans got some of his museum?
Maybe.
Ripley's?
I guess we'll have to finally go to Zach Bagans and report back.
Maybe we'll do an investigation if they allow it or invite us.
I don't think I'd want to do an investigation there. That place scares me.
I would. I'd do it.
I
How can it scare you? You never even been there.
I want to dip my toes a little bit more before we jump in like that. I don't like jumping into the deep end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd still go for free.
But I would love to go. Even as a paying customer, we've tried a few
Yeah.
times, but remember the last time we tried, we really looked into it, and it's scary. Like, people for real leave with things attaching to them.
That's not why we didn't go. We didn't go because we had to make sure we had child care for the teenagers. We weren't allowed to leave them alone in a hotel room.
Well, if I remember right, we could have taken them.
No,
but
you had to be 18.
Oh, 18?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then that too.
That's the honest to God reason we didn't go last time. And
No,
the time
but
before was because you had to book in advance and they were sold out.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Yeah, we totally would have gone, but, you know, we had the kids with us. We had your brother and cousin. They weren't allowed to go. I don't want to leave them out. That's cold-blooded, so.
And, yeah, don't leave kids unattended at hotels. Please don't. But, yeah, maybe soon, you know?
Maybe.
I love Vegas. I'm always looking for an excuse to go back.
I feel like there was something else happening in Vegas I was supposed to go see.
I want to go see the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives do their...
I don't think that was it for me.
I think it might have been.
I'm actually almost 158% positive that was not it for me. It's at least 157%.
I don't know. I feel like once a week we find something in Vegas that both of us are like, oh, we should go.
At least once a week, I swear.
Like that Tech Nine concert.
Oh, yeah.
This is getting very not podcast related.
Oh, yeah. Dude, this is just a regular us conversation. You got so much to edit.
This is the bad part about doing a podcast as a married couple. Because we get lost. We need Nova here to keep us reined in. But I think that's everything I had to talk about. And you don't have anything?
I don't. I told you, every time I have something, I would jot it down. I mean, I know I have, but then I forget about it and I lose it. Yeah. I see it and I'm like, the fuck is that about? And I delete it.
Yeah.
I got too much going on that I forget what, I forgot about. And then I forget why I needed it.
Okay. Well, then we'll get started. As promised, this week we are talking about the history of the Ouija board.
Oh, the Ouija board. All right.
Yeah. If you are a very superstitious person and you don't like hearing about dark entities or anything like that, you can listen to this part because this is going to be at least a two-parter, and we don't get into any of that type of stuff in this part.
Yeah, apparently.
This part's just history, so.
And I'm learning with you guys, so.
Yes. Today, we're talking about a toy.
What?
This toy has become one of the biggest topics of debate in the paranormal community to ever exist.
Fucking slinkies.
Many believe it's evil. Others believe it's simply just a tool.
Yeah, how does it just keep going down the stairs on its own? Fucking no.
And the rest believe it's harmless fun, the equivalent to the game Monopoly.
I mean, Slinky is a little bit easier than Monopoly, but whatever.
Today, we are discussing the Ouija board.
Oh, that's way different than a Slinky.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot closer to Monopoly, I suppose.
Can you imagine how much more fun ghost hunting would be, though, if you could talk to a ghost with the Slinky?
If you just push it down.
Yeah,
You're like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You only have one story, my guy. There's nothing I can do here. You fucking dig like 6 foot down at about at least 4 steps, and I can do it. I can do it real good. I got a mini Slinky, so if you do fucking really small steps about 5 foot down, I got you too. Yeah, that'd be wild.
Do you want me to buy you a Slinky?
Only if it's a giant one. Then we gotta find giant stairs and see if I can knock it down. And it's like, hello, I'm the ghost.
Okay.
Ooh, man, now we gotta Google where giant stairs and giant Slinkies are.
I bet we could find some in Vegas.
Do they sell giant Slinkies at giant stairs? I don't think they have giant stairs. Moving on.
Different variations of the Ouija board can be traced back centuries, with one of the most well-known being automatic writing. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh yeah, where people kind of like, zone. I don't, for lack of better words, for me, like zone out. They tune out and just tune in with the energies and kind of write what comes to them.
Yeah, pretty
some
much.
people black out their eyes and block out all senses, but they're yeah. There's a couple
Basically.
different beliefs. Yeah, some people say that that's how they communicate with different entities, like in the supernatural, spiritual world. Some people say that's communicating with their alter beings, their spirit. Some people say it's communicating with, like an alien. Like there's different interpretations of how it is. But yeah, I think I know what it is.
Yeah, that's the
Hell
gist of
yeah.
it. Automatic writing is basically where someone sits down and, like you said, mindlessly draws or writes. They start by scribbling, and they either let their mind
Water? Ooh.
wander. Don't
Like
let your mind
fluid.
water. They let their mind wander, or they make their mind go completely blank. So,
Yeah.
like you said, that mindless, just scribbling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's believed that a spirit will use their hand to create a message. Planchettes, which we now associate with the Ouija board, were actually first invented for this form of communication. People would attach a piece of like graphite or whatever to one of the legs because there's 3 legs on a planchette.
Mhm.
And then multiple people could do automatic writing at the same time because everyone would put their fingers on the planchette, just like with the Ouija board. And then they do the scribbling or,
Oh, okay, so there was nothing written underneath.
no. So to my best understanding, automatic writing, you can like just write words as they come to your mind. But I think for the most part, people kind of just like how you, when you're on the phone and you doodle,
Yeah.
kind of like that. And then it's like a roar chester. Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
The ink blots. And you're like, the psychiatrist is like, what
I
do
know
you
what
see
you're
in
talking
this?
about. I don't know what they're called, though.
Yeah,
You
whatever
might
it's
want to
called.
giggle that.
That's fine.
Huh.
If you know what it is, email us.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
But I think it's kind of like that where you just scribble and then you look for words or for pictures in what you scribbled. If that makes sense.
Okay. That might be how some people, I don't know. There's probably multiple ways of doing it, but
Yeah.
I pick up what you're putting down.
Yeah. And like I said, or not like I said, but this is a Ouija episode, so I did not dive very far into that. But I did want to talk about it because it is like where planchettes started, and that's a big part, obviously, of the Ouija board. So
It's at least a part of the Ouija board. It's not the biggest part because the biggest part is the board, right? Like, talking about the size and parameters. Of
okay.
it.
The first time that we know a planchette was actually used was in France in 1853.
Holy moly.
Yeah. And it apparently wrote out, I excessively forbid your repeating to anyone what I've just told you. Spooky.
Well, if that's what all it said, I mean,
I think it said something before that.
well, then they probably didn't repeat it.
Yeah. Just
Well, I guess
just
we'll
the
never
threat.
know. I guess they'll never know.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, I never said anything. It just threatened us.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, I wouldn't
for
fucking
sure.
tell either.
I wouldn't know.
Like, that's all it said. It was
Yeah.
weird, man. I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you.
No. But one quick side story because this stuff blows my mind. In the 8th century in Somerset, England, an abbey was built and used as a monastery.
What was?
An abbey.
What's that?
I think it's like a place where monks stay, right? But let me Google and make sure.
When somebody says abbey, it just makes me think of like an attic.
Why?
I don't know if you're saying it's like a British thing. It's just, I open the abbey.
What about basement?
Oh, and the sub?
The sub? Okay. Yeah, so an abbey is a monastery or convent.
Is it like on the second floor?
What do you mean?
The second story?
No, it's the whole building.
I feel like the abbey's just the top part of it.
Okay.
Like the attic.
I get where you're coming from, but no.
Also fits in with the slinky theory, so go ahead.
Allegedly, the bones of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere were found in this abbey. Yeah.
Like stolen?
No, they were found there.
Oh, like when they died.
Something. I don't know. I don't remember that part of the story.
Oh.
I just mentioned that because it was like a famous abbey. What?
You.
I mentioned it because it's a famous abbey. So there was all this historical significance to it, and they lost the abbey. Like, they couldn't find it. They couldn't find the ruins. It was gone.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So in 1908, a man named Frederick Bond was put in charge of finding it, and astonishingly, he did.
Yeah, see, I didn't figure any of this shit was lost. They just, didn't look hard enough.
Apparently, it was a huge deal that he found it. Like, finding King Tut's tomb type of huge deal.
Uh-huh.
And everybody was asking, how did Bond find the location of the lost Glastonbury Abbey?
On the Bond. He's an agent.
A few years later, that could have been part of it for sure.
Probably that's where they got the name Bond.
There you
Because
go.
this guy's fucking... What?
Yeah, doing
Finding the
wild
shit
things.
nobody else could find. He's
Yeah.
like, dude, it's over here.
And if I remember right, it was like within a year's time frame. It was very quick. He's just like, yeah, I'll do it.
Right, he's
And then
like,
he did it.
He's like, I just went upstairs, dude. It's right there.
Follow the slinky.
Like, I don't know why you guys kept just fucking... You kept going outside and shit up the stairs. The Abbey? Are you kidding me? I think I remember reading about that.
I don't think you do. But a few years later, he published a tell-all book explaining...
See, I told you. That's where he said, you just fucking go up the stairs, dude. It was right there.
Not quite, but the
Oh.
book explained that he and his psychic medium friend used automatic writing to converse with the spirit of a monk who told them where to dig.
It's crazy. I used to be a medium.
Yeah?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was a medium. Me, my mom, my sisters, they're still mediums, but now I'm a large. I'm like 6 foot.
You're so silly.
I know.
But isn't that crazy?
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, I just talked to this monk and he said, go upstairs.
Yeah. This dead monk told me where to go. Not upstairs.
Oh.
But this dead monk told me where to dig, and they dug and they found the ruins.
That is wild.
Yeah.
It's like they're talking about all these kids that are talking about their, past lives.
Yeah.
All the reincarnation
Crazy
stories
stuff.
and shit. It's popping up more nowadays and shit. It's wild.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that story because that blew my mind. And honestly, we should use automatic writing to find things more, I think.
It's
Try it.
usually how I find my keys.
Can't hurt. Okay.
It's dark in the room and I fucking reach around till I find them.
Okay.
Is that not fair?
I don't think that's automatic writing, no.
Oh. Automatic finding.
The messages received in automatic writing are often very hard to decipher. And it's incredibly difficult to actually let yourself get in the correct mindset without accidentally skewing the results. Because apparently, like, if you're looking at something too intently or thinking about something or even listening to music, you can start writing what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're thinking.
Again, goes into the theory that I mentioned previous episodes about that split atom theory. When it's
I don't
being
think you've mentioned that yet, actually.
Okay, so the split atom theory is basically when you send atoms through a single slit and you observe them, they all go in a straight line directly through the slit. Now, if you send atoms through two different slits that are spaced apart, typically what you'll see is they go through the exact same split or slits the exact same way in those straight line patterns, the exact same way those slits are in the divider. So they did the same theory or the same experiment underwater to see if it had an effect from the ripples. And of course it does. So then they also did it again outside of water, and they didn't watch it. They just did it and then went and saw what happened. And when nothing observed it, the atoms went in sporadic places. Like they spread out. They didn't go where we presume they would go, where they always went when we watched it. In those straight lines, they just went into random locations. So they did it over and over and over and over and kept trying to figure out why. They watched it, didn't watch it, watched it, didn't watch it. Every time they watched it, it went exactly where they presumed it would have gone. Every time there was no observation, it was sporadic. So they tried it with, slow motion cameras that were hidden where they couldn't see it. Cameras that were hidden behind double-sided mirrors, like to where you can't tell. But it was any time that it was observed. So it was like it experienced consciousness. So anytime it was conscious of anybody was conscious, like knowing that it was going to happen and watched it, it only did the one outcome. But if it was unobserved, subconsciously, it would act however it pleased, right? So that's similar.
Yeah. And
In my
that's,
head, at least.
no, I see what you're saying. And that's such a wild, I don't even know if theory is the right word because it's like they studied it, like it happened. But it's such a wild theory, and I definitely want to do an episode where we dive more into that, I think. But I definitely see the similarities that you're talking about because it's like once things are observed, it changes the outcome of automatic writing.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. So it's observing it changes the consciousness of it. It brings consciousness, which changes the behavior.
Yeah. Very weird. But yeah, so automatic writing is extremely hard to do because you have to get yourself into the correct mind space, like I said, and you can't have any distractions.
So no mind space.
Yeah.
Or
But it's
if you think about it, just mind space.
weird because some people do have to listen to music to get themselves in that space. Other people, if they listen to music, it completely skews their results. So it's very weird and very like dependent upon the person doing it.
Especially if, it's the original people back in the 1800s that used that planchet.
Yeah.
3 people. 1 has to listen to music, 2 can't.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have headphones.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, well, this is fucking ruined. Get out of here, Stacy.
Yeah. Another way people used to talk to spirits was with bibliomancy.
Oh, the Bible.
That was my thought too. No.
Yeah, no, just books.
Well, the Bible can be used actually.
Yeah, it's just books.
But it has kind of changed over time.
Yeah, now people use Swiss cheese and throw a piece of Swiss cheese at books and whatever word is displayed in the middle of the Swiss cheese.
Yes,
after one
actually.
whole page. Yeah.
I didn't put that in my notes, but yeah, you're spot on. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, I know.
I love those TikToks.
Oh, yeah, TikTok's a wonderful creation.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Today, bibliomancy is mostly where somebody will ask a question or think of a question, and then they'll open a book to a random page, and their answer is supposed to be on that page. It does depend on the person, but the answer is either the first sentence your eyes fall on, or you can like take your finger and like scroll down the page, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and wherever you feel like stopping, whatever is drawn to, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those Facebook things where you scroll past and they're like, the first 3 words you find on this crossword are your future.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always, no.
Those, yeah, but bibliomancy intrigues me.
You absolutely manifest your own future, everything like that. Yeah, it's all the energy and what you put into what you want to accomplish. But it's not the crossword.
No, not the crossword. But those are fun. I do stop for every single one. I find
words on there I didn't even fucking know existed.
Yeah?
Yeah, so how's that my future? I didn't even know that's a thing. You heard how many questions I asked this episode? I don't know shit.
The reason that why can't I say it? Bibliomancy makes me giddy is because it makes me wonder if the Taco Bell Oracle, which is weird because we took a break a second ago and you mentioned Taco Bell. But anyway, if the Taco Bell Oracle from TikTok a few years ago really was doing some sort of seance on accident or getting in contact with some sort of spirit or like some form of higher energy, and that's why the Taco Bell sauces that they picked made so much sense as answers to the questions they were asking. You know what I mean?
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah. Do you think that was a form of bibliomancy? No, you remember the Taco Bell Oracle, right? We have for sure talked about this in past episodes, but it was those was those TikToks where people would like ask questions in the comments, and the Taco Bell Oracle would go to their drawer of Taco Bell sauces and they would ask the question and like feel around, and then whatever they felt like, I need to grab this one, they'd pull it out and read it, and it always made sense to the question.
Ooh.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, I think those things just always make sense. Taco
Maybe.
Bell packets. Kind of like those stupid little hearts during Valentine's Day. They always apply to something. Like the phrase, not since the accident. It applies to almost everything you ever use it for. Ask me a question.
That's fair, I guess. You actually ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you want for dinner?
I don't. Not since the accident. Yeah, see? Everything, dude. Come on.
No, I fully believe that the TikTok Oracle was somehow channeling some sort of entity, and that's how they were getting their answers. They were performing bibliomancy.
Yeah, that dude was like, you know what? Let me channel something. And Taco Bell was like, I got you. Fire sauce, dog. You want a mild response? Here you go. I got you some hot responses. And they dialed it up, dog. I get it. I like it.
Okay.
Shout out Taco Bell.
Sponsor us, please.
Live Moss.
Live Moss. Speaking of living moss, around the 1800s to early 1900s, there was the birth of a new religious movement.
And that's about 100 years.
Yeah.
That's living moss.
That movement was spiritualism.
Oh.
In spiritualism, there's a belief in life after death, but also that our souls continue to learn and evolve.
Hey now.
We continue to lurve.
We lurve. You lurve me, I lurve you.
But yeah, so from that thought is how we got the idea that spirits are sort of all-knowing and full of wisdom and can answer all of our most important questions.
All right.
Yeah. Which, that's kind of a cool concept, I think, that you can continue to learn and grow.
I mean, that's still taken from other cultures.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that's a lot of indigenous culture beliefs, too.
Yeah.
You know, the spirits, your elders. So, I mean, I guess they adopted that from other places and kind of brought it into a conceptualized, like, westernized religion.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, that's a good way to put it.
That is. So, in come the Fox sisters.
Oh, the Fuck sisters?
Fox.
Oh, Fox. Okay. I was like, holy fuck.
No. They were 3 sisters.
No, the ones I know, there's only 2 sisters ever. 3 just seems like a crowd.
Okay.
That being said, no, I've never heard of these Fox sisters.
Okay. They were from New York, and they were named Maggie, Kate, and Leah.
Maggie Fox?
Maggie Fox, yeah.
Okay. Kate Fox?
Uh-huh.
And if I had to guess Leah's last name, it would be probably like Fox?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
It's fuck.
2 of the 3 sisters claimed that one day they started hearing knocks inside their home. Like,
Bet it was the first 2 Leah didn't hear because she's not a real fox.
Well,
fuck, did I get it right?
Maggie and Kate
Shit, I did.
were the ones that heard the knocks because Leah was the oldest and she didn't live with them at that point. If I remember right, she was married and living with her husband.
And no longer a fox.
And
How the fuck did I know this?
Because I told you she wasn't a fox.
No, you didn't. Not yet. And I promise you, I've never heard of these fucking people.
Okay.
That's wild. I guess I just ghost wrote that.
You might have. Let me see your hands. Are you
No,
automatic writing over there?
No, I'm not automatic writing. That's not what I'm saying. I said I ghost wrote that. Like, I just wrote it through my brain to your fucking tablet, dog. Like, you're reading not from pen and paper. You're reading from typed notes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's crazy how I got that. I don't know how that works.
Ever evolving.
Told you I used to be a medium.
But yeah, so Maggie and Kate, the 2 younger sisters, heard knocks in their house. After a while, the 2 girls said they realized the knocks were from the ghost of a peddler that was murdered and trying to communicate with them.
What was he peddling that they murdered him for? Fucking weirdo.
Little trinkets and stuff, I guess.
But humans' teeth and shit.
Oy.
Ugh.
Well, back then, who knows?
And that's why he's knocking. He's like, I need more teeth.
Leah took it upon herself to become their manager. What? I definitely skipped a part in my notes, and I'm sorry for that.
Oh, yeah, they all got jobs somehow. The guy knocked, and then all of a sudden they were employed.
Yeah.
No. That's wild.
So
this guy's fucking wilding.
So they started communicating with this guy, this ghost, through knocks. And they would ask, like, knock once. I don't know the specifics, because it sounds like a lot of work to me. But somehow, through knocks, they were able to find out, like, his name and that he was a peddler. And they started communicating regularly with this ghost. I hate that word. I'm sorry the way I just said it.
Regularly?
Regularly. Yeah, I can't.
Regularly?
It's like rural.
Rural?
Rural. I hate that one too. Oh. But yeah. So they were communicating with this ghost, and they started telling people, and like people were like interested, you know.
Yeah.
So Leah took it upon herself to become the manager of the 2 younger sisters, and she hit the ground running.
Oh yeah, she was putting them on a show, huh?
Yes, she marketed Maggie and Kate as mediums, and took them on tour.
Yeah, you got to make money.
Yeah. Where they held public seances for paying customers, the first to ever do it.
Yeah, I'd be like, I brought the door where this guy keeps knocking.
Something. That's what I wonder, is because if the ghost is in your house.
Like, how do you bring it? Like, you talk with all the ghosts?
And it started with people going to their house, if I remember right. So then how do you take that on tour?
Where did this start at? Like,
it started in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, old and haunted. So I don't understand how you would take that on tour, but they did. And
it was a fucking demon.
Maybe.
It just traveled with them. They're like, watch us talk to this fucking demon.
Something.
It's your ghost, though.
Yeah. But it became wildly popular. People were losing their minds over this, and they would pay out the butt. I'm trying to cuss less on here, but they would pay to go see this, and it was cool. It was a show. You got to hear from a ghost, you know.
And go figure, not too long before that, they were hanging people for being witches and burning them. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
The U.S. is a wild place.
Yeah. Like I said, the Fox sisters were the first to ever do anything like that, and they really were like the jump start to mediums and public seances and eventually like ghost adventures and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah, they just kind of open the door to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, they're credited as being the beginning of the spiritualism movement as a whole.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, like where it officially took off.
It makes me a shitty paranormal podcast kind of guy.
No, I hadn't heard of them either. Like I said,
You're not great either.
I don't know if I cut that part or not yet at this point, but we're all learning together, so we'll see. We're going together.
I'll probably cut we're all learning together every 10 seconds.
I know. Said it a lot.
Yeah, if somebody listens to this the first time, they're going to be like, this is your 50th episode?
Mm-hmm.
You guys,
no.
How?
We're on 30.
It's a joke.
3.
I'm just saying that's a lot if you're like, we're just learning.
Yeah, well, we are.
But we've made 32, 33 episodes. Yeah, come on.
That's why we're a different podcast, is because we're learning with you guys. We're all on this journey together.
I'm hoping to every God that everyone on this that listens to us believes in that she cuts most of this.
I won't.
Fuck.
Shortly after the Fox sisters started touring, people were faced with the deadliest conflict in America, the Civil War.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Almost 700,000 people died from the war, and oftentimes their bodies were unable to be recovered. So a lot of people didn't get closure, and even more people didn't get the chance to say goodbye.
Yeah, believable.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's how it is with every war.
That's true, unfortunately. But,
most deaths, sadly.
yeah. So all of that was just the perfect mixture for people to put their fears behind them. They said, forget everything we just went through with the witch hunt, like you said. And they wanted to seek out communication with the dead.
Yeah, they were like, I hear ghosts have unfinished business, and I got some unfinished business for that motherfucker Johnny down the road.
Yeah.
Can you call that guy back here?
Yeah.
Hey,
pretty much.
Why didn't you clean up your dog shit, my guy?
I like the lighthearted
Don't
take.
let me get my hand on a fucking medium. We're calling out so many ghosts.
I like the lighthearted take, so we'll roll with that. As more people wanted to talk to the dead, they realized the old ways of communication were difficult, and mediums were expensive.
Yeah, and they were getting old. So that traveling was probably for the birds. They were tired of that shit. They're not coming to your personal home, especially to talk to your grandpa. Like, there's a lot.
Exactly. They're not easily accessible. They're expensive. They were like, we need another form of communication.
We need to be more self-sufficient, self-proficient.
And with that, the spirit board
The Ouija
was invented. Not the Ouija yet.
Oh, shit. I'm early.
You're early. But the spirit board.
But just like earlier, I told you, I predicted the future there.
Yeah.
I bet you the Ouija's coming.
It definitely has nothing to do with me saying this is about the Ouija board. But I do have to mention the origin of spirit boards is kind of hazy, like with everything we cover on this podcast. There are some unsubstantiated roots going back basically as far back as people have been around. You have to think about it. All of the other forms of communication were fun, but difficult. Even with the knocking and the tapping, imagine, like I said, how a conversation would play out. Tap once for yes, twice for no. Do you have a message for me? Tap, tap, yes. Does it start with an A?
Is your name John?
Yeah.
No? Paul? Chris? Peter?
Yeah.
Faster, dude. I'm getting tired.
Exactly.
You're right. You're
Exhausting.
right. And imagine that ghost knocking like, holy shit.
Yeah, like I'm done. Let's go. It's over.
He's like, you guys know I'm dead, right? Like, this ain't easy.
Yeah. So, Somebody had the brilliant idea of writing out all of the letters in the alphabet, plus numbers 0 through 9, and a simple yes or no on a board, and using a planchette to spell out messages.
The original keyboard.
Yeah. Huh.
Just saying.
But that is...
Yes, enter. No, backspace.
But that is a million times more efficient.
It was substantially more efficient. Yes. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
And Charles Kennard was the man that started it all.
That fucking Charles Kennard guy.
Mm-hmm. Kennard was born on Christmas Eve in 1857 in Newcastle, Delaware.
He sure was.
He was the second of 2 children to Mary and John Kennard.
Yeah, he wasn't the first one. He was the second one for sure.
Yep. In 1880, Charles made his way to Maryland and began working on a get-rich-quick scheme.
He was trying to get rich and quickly.
Yeah, he was scheming. He was known to do so.
He was working on it at least.
He created a fertilizer mixture that involved ground bones that actually became pretty popular.
Yeah, this is why he got in touch with the dead.
Not
he had
yet,
to apologize.
Actually.
No, I'm saying he had to apologize for his earlier shit.
Maybe. It did not specify which bones, so.
Yeah, I am right now.
He took out a business loan and took on a business partner named Henry Clay Chase. The fertilizer business did so well for a while that they were the first ones to have telephones installed in that entire town just so their office could quicker communicate with their warehouse.
And they were in the same building. They're like, fuck this, dude. I'm tired of walking.
No. However, apparently there was fierce fertilizer competition back then, and ultimately their business couldn't keep up.
They were busy talking on the phone.
Maybe, yeah. So they closed up the business, sold everything off, whatever. And then he started another fertilizer company that also failed. But down the hall, either at the first or second company, I couldn't find for sure which one, he met a man named E.C. Reich. Reich.
Oh. Roush?
E-I-C-H-E?
I don't know.
Me either. We're rolling with Reich. Reich was originally a furniture maker. Then he became a coffin maker. And when he met Kennard, he was an undertaker.
So another guy that deals with the dead.
Yeah, that's where he got the bones, huh? I'm connecting things.
No.
Oh.
No. So there's another guy, at least one other, or they're in cahoots right there. Somebody's fucking killing these people. One's harvesting the bones for the fertilizer, and the other one's making coffins to bury them. Or they're burying these bodies and the coffins in the fertilizer, and they went out of business because they're using their own fucking product.
Huh.
Not very smart, my guy.
That's definitely a weird connection that I didn't think of.
Yeah, then this guy decides he's got to start talking to these dead guys to be like, bro, stop fucking snitching. I'll get at you after life, too. That's what happened.
Maybe. The untold story.
Let's keep going. We'll find it.
Okay. The 2 men, Kennard and Reich, began to hear whispers of a board being used to help people talk to spirits in Ohio. And they thought, hey, we could make money off that. So, with Kennard's slick business ideas and Reich's wood skills, they started making prototypes and eventually created the board that we know now.
See? They heard other people were communicating with the dead, and they were like, we can't let these dead fucks talk. And they fucking warned them before anybody else could talk to them. They built their own spirit board to be like, let's go, motherfucker. You are going to stay quiet again.
That's definitely
These
weird.
guys are weird. The Fox sisters should definitely tell me they meet up like that episode of Supernatural and fucking Scooby-Doo.
Well, I wasn't going to mention this till the next part.
But yeah.
No. The Fox sisters eventually down the road
sued them.
No, admit that everything was faked.
I got so hyped for them.
Yeah, all of it was faked. I'll get into more detail, but they faked the tapping, all of it.
Being related, married.
No, I think they're really related, but
alive.
They were the ghosts.
Yeah, that's how they traveled so
Yeah.
well. They were just fucking floating. They're like, how the fuck?
There you go.
How are we going to move this money? Get that dude that keeps building these boards to talk to us to move this shit. Huh? No, they never met. So keep going.
Yeah, like I said, we'll talk about that more in part 2. In 1890, the Kennard Novelty Company was formed.
Oof.
It was mostly made up of Charles Kennard, Elijah Bond, and William Fuld. The sole purpose of the Kennard Novelty Company was for the company to mass produce spirit boards, making it easier than ever before for people to access otherworldly communication. When it came to naming their specific board, because like Ouija is name brand like Clorox,
Yeah.
but spirit board is the cleansing
the
light.
concept.
Yeah. So when it came to naming their specific board, they struggled. So one day, Elijah Bond took the board to his medium sister-in-law, Helen Peters Nosworthy.
Not the big or the small one, the
No.
medium one.
The medium one. She sat down and put the board on the table. She placed her fingers on the planchet and she asked, "Board, what would you like to be called?" Slowly but steadily, the board spelled out O-U-I-J-A. Ouija. It seemed like a jumble of random letters, so she asked, "What does Ouija mean?" And the board spelled out, "Good luck."
Oh, that's what it means?
Or good luck translating? I don't know.
Nah.
I do have to mention, there are theories to how Ouija got its name. That obviously is the most fun story
Yeah.
and the most known. Some people believe that they combined the French word and the German word for yes.
And no.
No.
Oh.
Oui and ja. Ouija.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also a story that Helen Peters was wearing a locket that had Ouija, or I don't remember the other word, but a similar word that she just read wrong, and that's what she said. But I think the board named itself. So do you think that it was saying Ouija means good luck, or do you think it was like, girl, good luck?
I think it was saying good luck. Like, good luck. That's what it
Yeah.
means. Like, good luck.
I like that better. And that's how the Ouija board was born. They took it to the patent office in D.C., where they were told, you can only patent this if you can prove that it works. So you know what they did? They proved it works. Allegedly. The story goes that the chief patent officer asked for the board to spell out his name, which he hadn't told any member of the Kennard Novelty Company. And it did. The officer was shook. But he put in the paperwork and he said he doesn't understand how it works, but it does, and they successfully got their patent for the Ouija board. As we sort of touched on earlier, Charles Kennard was not really known as a great businessman, and he either jumped ship early or he was pushed out of the company. I was seeing both stories, so. But after that, they decided to pivot the company and they rebranded as the Ouija Novelty Company. And William Fuld sort of became the front man. In 1897, William Fuld's brother, Isaac, joined the company and things were great until 1901.
Ooh, what happened in 1901?
For reasons the public has never known, the two brothers had a huge falling out that completely split up their family. You were either Team William or Team Isaac, and that feud lasted for 96 years before the two halves of the family finally reconciled.
And they still won't talk about it.
No. There are theories. I didn't put this in my notes. But so there's theories that like the main stockholders of the Ouija Novelty Company had originally signed like an agreement to allow William and his brother Isaac to create the Ouija boards. And then instead of re-signing another lease with them, they said, we want just William. And William was like, say less. And so Isaac was upset that he was like, you're going to do it without me?
Yeah.
But again, I'm not for sure on that. I couldn't find any real proof. But regardless of what started it, the fight was so bad that Isaac had the body of his daughter that passed away removed from the family plot.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm that petty.
You are. But it makes it seem like it's more than just a business thing, right?
Yeah, it's fucking personal. It's my brother.
That's fair.
He probably fucking fired his own brother.
It could be that, yeah. At some point...
Or...
Okay.
one of them wanted to tell the truth about what the Ouija board really was, and the other one said no.
Oh.
One said, no, it's a business. We're going to keep the business. The other one said, hey, let's be honest with people and what it's doing.
I wonder if the honesty was we're going to be honest that it's fake or we're going to be honest that it's letting in demons.
Yeah. And that's where the family had to divide. Where the family's like, hey, we got a bunch of money from this and we've always needed this money. You remember how some people were, making shit up and, trying to be swindlers? We don't have to do that now. Or were they like, hey, man, this shit's fucking killing people. And they're like, we're not taking responsibility for that. Like,
yeah.
Let's just act like nothing happened. It's just a fucking board game. Come on. Like, which one is it, guys? Tell us.
That's very interesting.
Tell me.
I like the way your brain works because I didn't think about that at all.
Oh.
At some point, Isaac tried to start his own version of the Ouija board, as did Charles Kennard.
And they called it a Yes.
No, I think Isaac's was named the Oracle, and I don't remember Charles Kennard's. Of course, Ouija swiftly took legal action and shut that down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they worked really hard to shut down all the little dupes.
Predecessors. No, that's not it. All the dupes, yeah.
Yeah, that's the best word I can think of right now. The former employees of that company were not the only ones. There were tons of knockoffs, that's the word. And Fuld fought them all off. He did really great at standing his own. Or at protecting his
brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. Whatever William Fuld was doing was working. And according to him, he sold enough Ouija boards that by 1920, he was officially a millionaire from just the board sales.
Yeah, so maybe he was trying to stop every other company or every other person from making them. Not because they were cutting into his revenue, but because he was like, hey, man, you guys are creating more fucking monsters in the world. Stop.
Yeah, maybe.
Stop. I'm trying to stop production. And they're like, nah. We need money too, and you fired us.
That would be weird.
That's...
Or maybe he thought, like, hey, this opens the doorway for demons and stuff, but I know how to control it. You guys don't.
Ooh, he's like, hey, I have a fucking safety net on mine.
Yeah.
You guys are just doing stuff. Please stop.
That would be interesting.
I'm going to sue you and shut that shit down.
Makes it spookier.
Ooh.
A big part...
I don't think it's that, because if it was a failsafe, I think, honestly, he probably would have sold him, like, the patent for the failsafe, or at least, worked in some way to make that baseline revenue off of it.
That's fair. Unless the ghost told him through the board they only wanted to work with him.
Well, the ghost was like, that guy's fucking... Dude, we don't want to talk to all these people. It's way too many... It's way too demanding. Way too demanding.
Maybe.
Maybe.
A big part in that boost of sales, though, for him to become a millionaire was from the World War. Well, from both of them. Just like the Civil War, people were exploring ways to talk to deceased loved ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think also it became popular because people were looking for any sort of escape.
Yeah.
And talking to the
Especially
dead,
through the Depression.
Yeah. And I think that definitely takes your mind off of everything going on.
I mean, I guess, but it kind of seems counterintuitive to take your mind off of your dead loved ones by trying to talk to them.
I was talking more so the depression part of it.
Oh.
After World War II, Ouija was even more popular than ever. There were songs written about it, Ouija posters, ads, you name it. There was even a Norman Rockwell portrait featuring a man and a woman playing the Ouija board together in an issue of the Saturday Evening Post, which was a very popular magazine.
So yeah, I'm a bet that the feud was because the other brother was like, dude, you're releasing demons. And this guy's like, no, I'm releasing money into my bank account, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stop.
And the other brother was only with the company a few years, and that would be long enough to figure out, like, hey, something sketchy's going on.
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see
how this plays out.
My favorite ads show couples using it because, weirdly enough, most people know the Ouija board was advertised as a fun party game and a way to talk to ghosts.
And great for date night.
Yes, it was also advertised as a romantic dating game. This was during a time when two unmarried people alone in a room together was often seen as scandalous. So, couples loved the chance to sit close together, across from one another with their knees touching and the board balancing on it. And then they had to touch fingers to use the planchette. But that's a spicy night right there. So, yeah, it took off as a romantic game. And I don't know, that's so wild. Could you imagine if, like, for our first date, I was like, hey, do you want to come over and play the Ouija board with me? You'd run away.
Well, in modern times, well, I wouldn't have. I'd have been like, this girl's into some freaky shit. I'm gonna see what this is about. That would have been me. Yeah. But where was I going?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah. Back in the day, it was marketed toward being like a more, everyday game. Nowadays, it's more. People see it as a taboo game.
Yeah.
Where it invites spirits or it's evil. So it's just how it's looked at.
Yeah, and we will discuss why it's looked at that way in part 2. So
I was going to say, yeah, if you imagine bringing Cards Against Humanity and you put that shit back in the day when they started playing Ouija and thought Ouija was dope and they opened that pack and they're like, what in the world? They don't even know what half those cuss words are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's just how it's marketed.
That's fair. It depends on how you look at it, but from a business perspective, they did a genius job at marketing that game. The using it as both an oracle and a toy, but also date night.
Oh, don't bring it up as Oracle. That was the one that got sued for copying them.
But yeah, they were very smart about their marketing for sure.
Absolutely. They were very intentional about it.
Yeah.
And I think with all of the shutting down all the other companies that imitated their product, I think that was a huge thing to do with the marketing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, you guys can't duplicate this. You can't try to act like this. Like there's no way. So being exclusively the only one is huge on the marketing.
Yeah, that's fair. So back to all of the vintage ads and posters and stuff, you can see a bunch of those and different variations of the board on display at the Salem Witchboard Museum in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. I've seen a few pictures.
The original one?
I think they have original, but
No, like the original one from the factory?
Like the first one ever? I don't think so.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But they do have a ton of historical ones. We do have a listener story. It'll either be part 2 or part 3, depending on how long part 2 is, that somebody shared with us where they sent the Ouija board to this museum because they didn't know what to do with it.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
I didn't know you could just like send your Ouija boards.
I mean, there might be laws in some states, but I'm sure you could send your Ouija board wherever the fuck you want. You just put an address and a stamp on it.
Maybe.
Or enough stamps.
But so that's very smart. If you have a Ouija board and like some scary stuff is happening and you don't know what to do with it, mail it to the Salem Witchboard Museum.
That's not a bad idea because it's probably a pretty fucked up thing to just mail to a random address.
Yeah.
Some guy gets it and he's like, what the fuck?
I think so.
A mom and her kids, they're like, oh my God, what?
I would literally crap my pants.
I'd be like, who the fuck? And I would sit there. I'd turn into a detective for about 2 hours and then forget what I was doing.
I get freaked out when I get random packages anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if it's something that I ordered and I forgot I ordered it for a few minutes, I panic because, all of the fear.
You get freaked out when we get internet ads in the mailbox with our name on it.
I do.
Like, join Spectrum.
So could you imagine an actual
Comcast.
Ouija
You're
board?
like, how do they know my name? Yeah.
Scary. But yeah, so if you're into Ouija board type stuff in the history, you can go check out that museum, check out all of the different Ouija boards throughout history, and I think that's really cool. The ads, like I said, they're so cute. Ouija boards are terrifying, but the ads are cute. One wild fact about the museum is despite having scoured the earth to build a collection of more than 300 spirit boards, the man that created the museum has never used one.
Well, I don't feel like he's scoured the earth either, because from the sounds of it, people just mail them to him.
Some people did, but no, I think it was a Ripley's Believe It or Not article, which is weird again that ties in. But
Very weird.
Yeah. They did an article on the museum, and the man did travel all around trying to find different Ouija boards and get his hands on original posters and So
like antiquing.
Yeah, but just for Ouija boards. But I think that tells you something. He dedicated himself to build this museum, but has never used a Ouija board himself. The reason why he even got into Ouija boards is because his grandma used one, and that's one of the Ouija boards in the museum is his grandma's Ouija board, but he has never used one himself.
I think that guy knows something we don't, and he's trying to collect them to get them off the street.
Maybe.
He's like, you can come see them, don't fucking use them.
That makes sense, because
he's collecting he knows the ones that have fucking bad entities.
Maybe.
Like he's collecting the ones that have the bad shit.
That could be it, but no, they are all up on a wall. Like, they're not down for people to touch or anything.
Well,
they're all on a wall.
Well, yeah.
So what if that's really what it is he's trying to, like, collect? That's so weird.
He's taking the possessed ones.
And that's why he scoured looking for them, because he wasn't like, oh, I'll just buy a bunch at Target. No, he wanted specific.
Well, yeah, no, he obviously not one at Target. If he's collecting like one from each year or each manufacturer kind of thing, I think he probably has more intent to which ones he's collecting. It's not just, oh, I just need one from this bunch.
Yeah, that's so weird. Now we have to go.
At some point, we got a lot of shit to do over there.
Yeah, we do. Back to William Fuld.
Oh.
Perhaps the reason that William was the one out of the main three that really stuck with the company, because remember, everybody else was either pushed out or left.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the reason he was the one that stayed was because of the fact that he really, truly believed in it.
Maybe. Everyone else was like, this is bullshit, dude. Like,
yeah. Get rich quick.
I don't know. I need one of the people that know for a fact to just let me know, dude.
Right. But William would frequently use the board and ask questions, especially questions about business. One day, the board told him to, quote, prepare for big business. He took that as confirmation that he should build this new giant factory that he'd been thinking about building in Baltimore. So he did.
Oh, yeah?
One day in 1927, he was at that new factory on the roof watching workers install a flagpole. He leaned on an iron support that was part of the pole, the flagpole, and the support gave out, sending him tumbling down from the roof of this giant building.
Like a slinky.
Like a slinky.
Oh, shit.
There was a Baltimore Sun article about the accident that featured a quote from a workman that said the support, quote, was pulled from its moorings. A mooring basically just means from wherever it was attached, but it could just be the old-timey language of it all, but it kind of sounds like he was trying to say that the rail was, like, ripped out.
Yeah, like something pulled it out.
Yeah,
like
right?
It didn't just fall, like it was pulled out.
Yeah, that's how it sounded to me.
So the dude die?
Not from the fall.
But did he?
Kind of. So the fall...
What?
Listen.
Well, he
the
kind of
fall
died, but he's still there.
Miraculously didn't kill him. Like, he hit the ground, but he was not dead. He had a concussion.
Mm-hmm. Been there, player. 2
broken arms.
Oh, better than 3.
A leg fracture. And 5 fractured ribs. That's a lot. But everyone thought he was going to be okay. Like, that's survivable. It's shitty, but it's survivable.
Yeah.
But then, on the way to the hospital, in the ambulance hit a bump and bounced just hard enough that one of his fractured ribs pierced through his heart. And he died.
Oh, yeah, that'll happen.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, that's wild. So the thing that was trying to kill him was like, God damn it, the fall didn't get him?
Yeah, and I forgot to put in my notes.
Punch him in the chest.
So during the fall, he, like, managed to grab onto the ledge of an open window, and then the window shut on his hands, and he fell.
Yeah, something was just trying to kill him that day.
Yeah, what the heck?
Was his brother there?
I don't think so.
Oh, this is why they reconciled years later. He was like,
No, he never reconciled with the brother. The
I know,
family.
I'm saying the family.
Oh, okay.
Years later, he was
They
like,
found out.
I did it. And they're like, we fucking knew it.
On the Ouija board. He's like,
you
yeah,
guys come over here.
That'd be wild.
No, it was on his deathbed.
No.
He did it on the Ouija board still. I did it.
But yeah, I don't know. That's scary.
That's pretty wild.
To be pierced through your heart with your own rib. William did die from that, like I said, but he survived long enough to give his children one final message. That message was, never sell Ouija. So you know what they did?
They fucking shut it down for a couple weeks.
Nope. They sold Ouija. On February 24th, 1966, which, rumor has it, was the anniversary of William's death.
So was he saying like don't sell the company
Yeah.
or don't sell the game anymore?
Oh my
He was trying to tell
God.
him don't sell the game.
Don't sell the.
Like
Oh
don't
my
sell Ouija.
God.
Stop selling Ouija. Not the company. He don't give a fuck about the company as long as you quit selling the game.
I'm going to throw up.
Well, don't do that.
What
I'm
if
right
that's
in front
what
of
he
you.
really. What if that's what he meant was like, don't sell any more boards?
Probably. I'm telling you, I used to be a medium.
Especially because it sounded like. You're so silly. But especially because it sounded like he knew something was after him.
And he kept fucking dying in the
He
same
kept,
day.
yeah, like some sort of what's it called? The movie,
Final Destination.
yeah, like Final Destination type of death.
But the spirit that was taking him was like, you better fucking tell him not to sell this shit anymore. So they kept giving him a chance to live. So he could keep telling him, don't sell Ouija. Don't sell Ouija.
Maybe, or maybe he made. Wait a minute. Maybe he made a deal with like a demon through the Ouija board for all of the success, and that's how he became a millionaire. But the deal was like, we're gonna get you one day, and then he knew like,
like a
okay,
deal
this
with
is
the
it.
devil.
Yeah,
Yeah, but with the Ouija.
yeah, and so he knew this is it. I have to warn my kids, and that's all he could get out.
Yeah, because if you sell Ouija, you're selling your soul.
I have goosebumps.
We don't have to.
Holy cow. But, oh my gosh. Yeah, so whatever he meant, they sold Ouija, and they sold it to a popular toy company named Parker Brothers.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them too. And they got
Yeah.
like toys.
They do. It was this company that moved the operations to Salem, Massachusetts. Shortly after, Ouija had another surge in popularity, and there was a time where it was...
In the 80s?
No, I believe it was the 60s.
Ah.
But there was a time where it was even more popular than Monopoly. And yeah, it was 67 because
Well, yeah, Monopoly takes fucking 12 hours.
it was a year after they sold it that it was like super popular again.
Okay.
Do you think because somebody else sold their soul? Or somebody else made a deal? Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah, the people that bought the company.
Yeah. And so I had this huge surge.
Yet again.
Ooh.
So did it... Google it real quick. Did it sell in the last couple years? Like, let's say a year ago or so?
I don't know if it sold, but I do think it merged with another company.
Hasbro?
Yeah, it merged with Hasbro.
Check. In the last year? Because that's when it started getting popular again, like selling at Target.
Okay, it said Hasbro acquired Parker Brothers along with its parent company Tonka in 1991.
Oh, a long ass time ago, so yeah, we're good.
Okay. I wonder if Hasbro has had any new like CEOs or anything in the past few years.
Maybe.
Hasbro's longtime CEO, Brian Goldner, died on October 12, 2021 after a 7-year battle with cancer. Richard Stoddart served as the interim CEO of the company following Goldner's death. Chris Cox was named as Goldner's successor on January 5th, 2022.
Yeah, that's still a little too long ago. I don't know if Ouija had a new surge since 2020. I mean, like near 2022 or 2023.
It's about 2023 when we started seeing memes that it was being sold in Target.
Was it?
Yeah,
Well, maybe.
that's
That might
weird.
be it. It is. You know,
And that's directly from Wikipedia.
well, that's coincidental. I mean, it.
That's weird. That's all I've got to say is that's weird. And
It was
we're
a little
just
weird.
going to move on from that. So, yeah, Ouija had another surge of popularity in 67, and they were more popular than Monopoly, which, again, you know, oh, Monopoly is like a really long game. But it's just weird to think that Monopoly is this household game, and Ouija board was more popular than that.
Yeah, but I could still see it because Ouija, you at least bond over the fear of it.
Just because you don't like Monopoly,
No, I love Monopoly.
not the whole game.
I don't have the attention span to keep playing it more than, so long. But it's a good game, but
Yeah.
it creates a divide.
That's fair.
People are competing in a different manner than other games in Monopoly. I think that's why.
But I kind of think we'll hold that thought, okay?
Okay.
The Fuld family feud was eventually ended by a man named Robert Murch.
Oh, merch. He was selling their shit.
I think that was my thought. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Ouija merch. One day, he saw the name William Fuld on the box of a Ouija board, and he was like, oh, but I kind of want to look into the history of this, you know?
Yeah.
So he started contacting family members, and through him, they were able to patch up the feud. Yeah. So it's weird that this feud probably started because of Ouija, but then was also ended because of Ouija.
Nice.
Yeah. After that, though, Murch ended up becoming so close with the family that he ended up attending family reunions, like, often. And he was even gifted the watch that was on William when he fell.
That's weird. He didn't even know that guy, and they're like, you could have the dead relatives watch.
Right?
That he
Especially
died in.
because rumor has it the watch broke when he fell. And so his, like, time of death, but he didn't die quite then, you know?
Yeah, his time of impact.
Yeah, his time of impact is frozen on the watch forever. And they're like, yeah, you can have this
Yeah,
depressing
that's odd.
family heirloom.
Well, that's probably why they're like, we need to get rid of all these things.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, that's how close he got with everybody. Then there was Helen Peters Nosworthy.
Oh, I recall her.
Yeah. Helen was not only crucial in the naming and patent of the board, but she was also an investor. Like William Fuld, she truly believed in the board and what it could do. Then one day, some Civil War era family heirlooms, ooh, that's weird to say, Civil War era family heirlooms went missing. So she asked the board where they went. Like I said, she believed in the board, so it wasn't unusual for her to take questions like that to it.
Yeah.
So this was just like run-of-the-mill normal day for her.
Right.
But what wasn't normal was the board pointed a finger at a family member, and it said they took it.
And then she ran their pockets.
No, for some reason she was pissed. She didn't believe that that family member was guilty, and she told her family what it said. Some of them believed it, some of them didn't, and this created a family feud among everybody. And Helen blamed the board for tearing her family apart, and she was quoted saying, "Don't use that board, it's evil." But how weird is that two of the main people involved in this that truly believed in this thing ended up with these big family feuds?
To be fair, she could have just manifested that. She could have just moved that energy to make that happen. Like, there could have already been a family divide against that one specific cousin where they all thought he was a thief anyways. So her saying, well, the spirit board said he's a thief. And half the family going, see, fucking told you, even the spirit board thinks so. And the other one going, it's a fucking, you moved the planchette by yourself. So that could have done it right there. That could have just been the straw that broke the camel's back. That one I can explain away, but the whole fucking family that created the Ouija board and the company, that rift,
Yeah, that 96-year
that
rift.
one's a little bit different. Yeah.
Super weird.
And they let this random guy right in the middle gave him the watch, and that ended the rift. Like, there's
I know, that's
something
so
funky
weird
in
to
that
me.
situation for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the end of part 1. If you have any Ouija board stories, if you've ever used one, if you know someone that used one, if your grandparents told you stories of them using one, I don't care if it's scary, mundane, sad, happy.
If you got one in the garage or just in that spare bedroom that you just keep eyeballing, looking at, open it.
Don't do it.
You don't have to use it. Just open it. Tell us.
That's my
is there
one
something fucking
request.
weird in there?
If you've been thinking about using a Ouija board, please wait until our next episode. Listen to that first.
Oh yeah, don't let this be your deciding factor.
don't
is
let
what she's
this one.
saying. I don't know what's in the next episode, but
In the next episode, we're going to discuss how to properly use one, all of the fears associated with Ouija boards, how the Ouija board got its bad name, and then just some weird fun facts about Ouija boards. We are also going to discuss true stories, like personal encounters. Like I said, I don't know if that's going to be in part 2 or if I'm going to have to do a part 3, but either way, I would love to include your stories, so please send them to us.
yeah.
You can find us on social media,
We have a YouTube,
a TikTok,
a Facebook,
an Instagram.
a Threads.
Oh, I forgot about Threads. I haven't posted on there in a minute.
Kind of have a Threads.
I think that's everything.
They're all Anxious at Bedtime podcast.
They are.
Like, rate, subscribe, follow. The world can be a scary place with Ouija boards and mystifying oracles in the world, talking to who knows in family rifts, because is it real? Are we really jeopardizing people's safety? Or is it about the money? Guess we might hopefully maybe know. If somebody ever tells us. But we're probably fine.
We're probably fine.
We're probably fine.
Sleep tight.
Sleep tight, don't be too anxious.